Say you have the statement P only if Q, or P depends on Q. How would you translate that into propositional logic? Remember, this is mostly an art form than an exact science. It depends on the context. But in general, only if talks about something that is necessary, or depends on talks about something that's necessary, not just sufficient. In any good conditional, such as if P then Q, P, which is the antecedent, is sufficient for Q, the consequent, but Q, the consequent, is necessary for P, the antecedent. And so we have a good way to translate an only if statement. So if you have something like P only if Q, this only if implies some kind of necessity. And in a conditional, we have something in the antecedent that's sufficient, and in the consequent, we have something that's necessary. So this only if implies that Q is the consequent. So we have if P then Q. Which is a bit confusing because you would think that the statement following if would be the antecedent, but it's not, it's the consequent. Only if, generally speaking, implies something that's necessary. So P only if Q means if P then Q. Or what if you have P depends on Q. So we have this depends on. And this also implies some kind of necessity. So Q is going to be in the consequent. So we have if P then Q. Let's think about a couple of examples at least. So let's say we have fire depends on oxygen. Now if we translate that as a conditional in propositional logic, what do we note? Well, it depends on. So fire depends on oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for fire. And so we have if there's a fire, then there's oxygen. Pretty easy. Here's another example. Let's say you will see Jupiter only if the sky is clear. We have this only if. So the sky is clear is necessary for seeing Jupiter. So we have if you see Jupiter, then the sky is clear. The sky is clear is necessary, and the consequent is always necessary for the antecedent. So that's why the sky is clear appears as that consequent. So now we know how to think about only if and depends on statements.